In a bustling town full of noisy markets and busy merchants, there lived a humble man who made his living selling salt. He was a hard-working father, well known for his honesty and commitment to his family. He lived with his wife and their two sons, boys who couldn't have been more different from each other. The elder son was quiet and introspective. He preferred to observe the world in silence, often lost in thought. Crowds made him anxious, and he felt more comfortable with books than with people. His younger brother, on the other hand, was lively, outgoing, and won everyone over with his charm and ease of conversation. Naturally, people were drawn to the younger son. Meanwhile, the older brother was often overlooked or worse, seen as a fool. Some mocked his silence, others took advantage of his innocence. But he never fought back. He kept everything bottled up inside. His father, frustrated by his reserved nature, would often scold him. "Speak up! Defend yourself! How are you going to survive in this world if you can't even stand up for yourself?" Those words felt like knives. Instead of helping him, they crushed his spirit. Doubt grew inside him like a shadow. At school, his anxiety affected his performance. Even when he knew the answers, fear froze his thoughts. Slowly, he began to fall behind. When he came of age, his father asked him to help with the family business. Desperate to prove his worth, he agreed. But his nervousness led to small mistakes, and each error triggered more harsh words from his father. Customers were impatient. He felt like a burden in his own home. Then came the day that would change everything. His father left town for a few days on business. While he was away, a group of cunning men came to the shop and said, "Your father sent us to collect all the salt. We need to deliver it to the city warehouse." The young man hesitated. He wanted to question them, but fear stopped him. With a trembling voice and uncertain heart, he let them take everything. When his father returned to find the shop empty, his anger exploded. "You let them rob us? You useless fool! You've brought shame to this house! Get out of my sight and never come back!" Devastated, the young man wandered aimlessly. The words useless, shame, and failure echoed through his mind. He walked to the riverbank, sat on the edge, and wept like never before. The pain, humiliation, and rejection were unbearable. He stepped closer to the water and thought, "If I disappear now, no one will care." But destiny had other plans. A young monk happened to be walking by. Seeing the boy on the verge of a terrible choice, he rushed forward and pulled him away from the edge. "Are you okay?" the young man cried out. "Why did you save me? My life is worthless. I'm a failure." With calm and kindness, the monk replied, "Failure only wins when you give up. As long as you're alive, you can change everything. Come with me. Maybe my master can help you." At first, the young man refused, but the monk's persistence slowly broke through his despair. They walked together to a peaceful ashram surrounded by trees and stillness. Under a great tree sat a wise master, deep in meditation. His face was serene, his presence comforting. As soon as the young man saw him, he fell to his knees in tears. "You're my last hope. If you can't help me, I have nothing left." The master listened carefully and said, "I can help you. But first, you must complete 3 tasks. If you do them, I promise your life will begin to change. Today, you must speak to 10 strangers. Ask them about their lives and write down their answers." Fear gripped the young man. Speak to strangers? He could barely speak to his neighbors, but out of respect, he tried. At first, people ignored him. Some were rude, but he kept going. Slowly, he gathered 10 stories, and even made a few. When he returned, he said with cautious pride, "I did it. I was scared, but I didn't give up." The master smiled. "That is courage, acting in spite of fear. Tomorrow you will teach 10 children about the importance of water." "But I'm not educated. How can I teach anyone?" "Those children don't know what you lack. Just share what you do know. The next day, with shaking hands, the young man stood in front of the students. He spoke simply about water, how we drink it, wash with it, grow food with it. When he finished, he quickly walked away. I was terrified, he admitted. But you did it, said the master. Now try again. The second time, he was calmer. The children smiled, asked questions, and clapped. He realized he was no longer afraid. See, the master said, you are braver than you thought. Now go back to your father. Ask for forgiveness. The young man froze. He'll never forgive me. I can't face him. But the master answered firmly, if you don't face this, you'll stay trapped in fear. Trembling, he returned home. He looked into his father's eyes and said, Father, I'm sorry. I made a mistake, but I want to learn. Please give me another chance. His father stared at him, and something had changed. This wasn't the same fearful boy. This was a man, standing tall, speaking from the heart. Without a word, he embraced his son. Come home, let's begin again. Back at the ashram, the young man asked, Master, what is the secret to success? The sage smiled and replied, You've already discovered it. Your greatest enemy wasn't your silence. It was your fear. People see you the way you present yourself. Even if you feel small, act with strength, and others will believe in you. True power comes from believing in yourself. Tears ran down the young man's face, but they were tears of understanding and gratitude. He had conquered. Years later, that once timid young man became a respected merchant, admired for his wisdom and calm confidence. People came to him for guidance, unaware that he had once felt completely worthless. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Even the shyest person can become strong when they decide to believe in themselves. Our biggest limits live in our own minds. Fear and self-doubt hold us back, but courage and persistence can transform everything. That young man thought he was destined to fail, but by facing his fears, he changed his destiny. Confidence grows every time we step outside our comfort zone. The world sees us the way we choose to present ourselves. If this story touched your heart, don't leave without subscribing to the channel. Here, we tell stories that inspire change, awaken strength, and remind you of your true potential. Like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and comment below what part spoke to you most. You are stronger than you think. All you have to do is believe and take the first step.